Welcome back, viewers. Now, let's shift our focus to the top story that we are tracking very closely. In a chilling incident from Manipur, the autopsy report of a 31-year-old who's a mother of 3 who was burned to death in her home by the armed intruders on November 7th has revealed disturbing and shocking details. The autopsy conducted at the Silchar Medical College in Assam found out that significant evidence of the victim being subjected to the torture before her death has happened. The report details several gruesome findings, including a metallic nail embedded in the victim's left thigh and a wound on the back of her right side. The body showed signs of severe burns, with 99% of the victim's skin charged. Despite the brutal injuries, the autopsy could not determine if the victim had been sexually assaulted prior to her death. This gruesome incident in the Jiribam district has sparked a series of violent repercussions in the area. The community remains in shock as the authorities continue to investigate the brutal murder of a mother of 3. All right, viewers, now it's time to look at the gruesome details that we have in fact gathered at this point of time, which is the report that we have accessed from Silchar Medical College and Hospital. This is the Forensic Medicine Department in Assam, which actually lists out as the reason of the death of this 31-year-old woman due to a shock as a result of third-degree mixed flame antemortem burns, as described, which covered 99% of the body of the total area. This time at which the report was being given was around 36 hours after the incident. And these are the more details, as you can see on your screens, as we can read that it was firstly found that the penetrating wound of nearly 1 centimeter was seen over the back of right thigh. And these are the shocking, gruesome and heart-wrenching details of the autopsy report, which confirms such a horrific attack that has happened on the women. Now, if we look at even more details, the forensic report cannot testify the presence of any kind of a sexual conduct, as the body was charged to, the skin of the victim was charged to a 99% of the total area. What in fact this report reveals further is that burnt and separated fragments of the bone did not show any signs of vital reaction, indicating the post-mortem nature of separation. The videography is done on the requisition, as the details and the technical details of the report are stated, and it also says that there was a metallic nail which was found embedded over the medial aspect of the left thigh, knee below the spine. As we can also see that the report cites that the left femur was found separated in 2 pieces, with the edges burnt and charged so much just above the knee that rest of the limb is found missing. The limb was also found missing. Muscles and soft tissues were found burnt and charged. Now, let me also go across to the external appearance of the body that was found, and as stated in the report, viewers, what it says, the condition of the subject emaciated or decomposed. The body was in the decomposed state. The deceased was covered in the polythene and blanket, and on removal of these, a completely charged body along with the burnt bone fragments devoid of healthy soft tissues was recovered. Also, what exactly was missing in the report was the right upper limb and parts of both lower limbs, and the facial structure was found missing. The attack was so brutal that even the facial structure of the 31-year-old was found missing when the body was given for the autopsy. As you can read, as per the wounds and the bruises which are there or right on your screen, the skull was found burnt and separated in pieces, with separation seen along the sutural edges in places, viewers. These are the very shocking details that we are bringing to you, viewers, And at this point of time, this is in fact very concerning as to what actually promotes and gives the rise of such heinous, barbaric crimes with women, as Manipur continues to be on boil. Now, viewers, joining me live on the broadcast is my colleague Nibir Deka. Nibir, it is very unfortunate that the details of the autopsy report, where the skull and in fact the facial structures along with the limb of the woman whose body was completely charged, reveal such shocking and unfortunate and heart-wrenching details. What exactly is the police saying on this matter? Are the accused been identified so far? Is there any suspect that the police is trying to nab? What are the details?
Well, the incident conspired on November 7 when 7 houses were set ablaze in Jiribam district. And in that incident, we got to know about the death of the lady, 31-year-old lady, who is also a mother of 3 children in that particular incident. After which the body was sent for a post-mortem to Assam Silchar Medical College, and yesterday, as we have this exclusive post-mortem report, it has revealed these gruesome details narrating her ordeal before her death. But the bigger issue that came after the incident was the allegations made by the family as well as the Cookie Zoo organizations on the ground, stating that she was also raped before her death. But the post-mortem report has not been able to ascertain that because of the nature of the burned body which was taken to post-mortem. Secondly, the most important factor of this entire incident is how the death of the lady has escalated the violence back again in Manipur. Following this incident, we saw how another lady was also killed in Bishnupur district. Further, we have seen 10 armed men. The Manipur police stated our militants have died in Jiribam due to a retaliatory firing by the CRPF. And further, there are tensions on the ground with both the Meitei and the Cookie Zoo community calling for a 24-hour shutdown, along with several protests in different parts of the state. So this death of the lady should not be seen in isolation. This has brought back Manipur back to square one, wherein the violence that we have seen for more than 17 months is again back on the streets, and the tensions are quite high. The Manipur police is yet to pick up the unidentified miscreants that caused the burning of the houses there. However, the central security forces along with the police are deployed heavily, especially in Jiribam district, where the proximity of the Meitei and the Kuki Mar communities are in close proximity. And as such, on the ground situation, the security forces are actively monitoring and trying to de-escalate any sort of conflict that might emerge again in the very sensitive nature of Manipur. Back to you.
All right, Nibir, thank you for sharing the latest, in fact, on the condition that's actually been witnessed in Manipur. Now, I'll request you to kindly stay on with me while I also get more developments where tensions have erupted at the Silchar Medical College in Assam following the post-mortem of the 10 youth who were killed by the CRPF gunfire in Jiribam district of Manipur. The deceased bodies were brought to the medical college for the post-mortem examination, with 6 post-mortems completed yesterday. However, the post-mortems of the remaining 4 bodies have not been conducted yet, even after 24 hours, which has sparked protest from the tribal communities in the various regions of Kachar. All right, viewers, joining me live back on the broadcast is my colleague Nibir. Once again, Nibir, why the protests are now escalating in the Silchar Medical College? The 10 bodies, what we are given to understand, of the CRPF Jawans which were gunned down went for the post-mortem, but now the communities, especially the tribal communities, are up in the arms and protesting against the non-completion of the post-mortem of the remaining 4 bodies, I believe.
Well, yes, it happened last night when the Silchar Medical College in Assam, which is conducting the post-mortem of the 10 dead bodies in the retaliation fire by the CRPF. These bodies were sent to the Silchar Medical College for post-mortem, and 6 bodies were, the post-mortem of the 6 bodies have already been done, but the 4 remaining bodies were there for more than 24 hours. And as such, the Cookie Zoo community and the tribal groups there have gherowed the Silchar Medical College, and they demanded the return of the remaining bodies. So this is a very interesting matter because we have not seen earlier the issue of Manipur escalating to Assam. This is for the first time, apart from the displacement of the IDPs, the internally displaced persons, we have not seen a protest or a ghera or such gherowing of the medical college or any such sort of institutions. But yesterday we saw how people in hundreds came about near the Silchar Medical College and demanded the bodies to be returned back. So the issue of Manipur is no longer just limited to the state. The neighboring states of the Northeast are equally impacted. We saw how earlier the refugees, the IDPs have fled to Mizoram, and now in Silchar, which is very close to the hotspot Jiribam, is seeing these kind of tensions wherein people have gherowed the medical college and they are demanding the return of the bodies, and also why the autopsy process has not been completed so far. Back to you.
All right, Nibir. Thank you for adding these latest inputs now. Joining me live on the broadcast is also my guest, Dr. Nisha Khanna, who is a senior psychologist. And I appreciate her speaking to me at this point of time. Ms. Khanna, what exactly is your assessment whenever you come across such a heinous, disturbing and a barbaric case? And when in fact the Arjikar Medical College rape happened, we have spoken to a host of doctors who have in fact given that what kind of psyche does these criminals and these sick-minded people possess, leading to such obnoxious details that we see in the reports of the autopsy. Why is that there is no regulation? Why is that there is no identification of such criminally exhibited behavior and also practiced very casually whenever there is a crime that happens against women?
There are numerous reasons why the person have such traits. There is the imbalance of brain's executive functioning, which is one of the triggers for uncontrollable actions, including murder or rape, or like this sort of heinous crime where you brutally murder the person. Executive functioning basically is the front part of the brain, which is linked basically with the head of the brain. These three executive functions of the brain, like working memory, cognitive flexibility, and the self-control, are responsible for executive functioning or the emotional regulation of the person's emotions. Most of the people who does such sort of heinous crimes, they lack emotional regulation, or emotional dysregulation is the part of their daily routine, because emotional regulation help us to identify what is important for us and what is not important.
If you can hear me correctly, Ms. Khanna. All right. Now, let's also get in my other guest that will fix that connection is Major Mohammad Ali Shah, who's a senior defense expert. I appreciate you speaking to me at this point of time, sir. What is your assessment of such type of crimes being on a huge rise in Manipur? And as my correspondent also in fact mentioned it in detail, that this is not just an issue of state, the neighboring states of the Manipur are also on the boil. So the condition overall in Northeast is only becoming very dangerous for the people who are vulnerable, children and women.
Simran, I am indeed very pained. My heart bleeds and I am still in a state of shock, you know. This occurred, 31-year-old woman, a mother of 3. The autopsy report, it says, well, for her autopsy also, she had to be sent to Silchar because National Highway 37. It was close to impossible to send her to Imphal for her autopsy. I mean, the kind of torture, firstly, my compliments to you. You read out so bravely about the torture. It's very difficult for a person to even think about what she must have gone through, and the autopsy report reveals that she was tortured, she was alive. The kind of torture that you read out, that you mentioned, she was alive when she went through the torture, and then she was burnt. 99% burn injuries, and the reason why they couldn't ascertain whether she was raped or not, because of course they couldn't find the means were so badly raped or not. But her husband says there's an FIR I filed over there. So it is indeed very, very, I tell you, my heart bleeds. And I would like to tell our viewers that please do not, just because violence is going on in Manipur, please do not judge the people of Northeast or from Manipur as violent people. They are not. They are very cultured, very principled, very well-mannered, very peace-loving people actually. But right now it's very unfortunate what's going on. Both the sides, be it the Kuki tribe, be it the Maite community, are very peace-loving actually. But right now what's going on, it is beyond my comprehension and imagination. It is, in 1999 in Kargil war, the enemy had fought our soldiers like Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia, and they had mutilated the bodies. This is close back. Even enemy does not do this kind of a thing. And here are our own countrymen. The way, it pains me no end to even imagine a mutilated body with a nail in the thigh. It really is beyond my comprehension. And as Dr. Khanna rightly said, these people have a mental psyche. Who's done this? Oh God, it is so painful. And now, apart from that, the violence in Manipur, because we have to ask our own selves, if we put our hand on our chest, on our heart and ask our own selves, have we done enough for the people? And the answer we will find ourselves. Whatever the answer is, we know, our hearts know. Such wonderful, such beautiful people, Such beautiful people who have contributed so much in nation building. It's not just Mirabai Chanu or Mary Kom or Asanthyam or many others who are from Manipur. There's so many, the list goes on and on and on. Last year, they had an international polo tournament. They had Femina Miss India in Manipur. The state was progressing. The current ambassador to Lebanon right now is from Manipur. Indian ambassador to Lebanon. He's from Manipur. He's a Pangal. Sheikh Rahman Saab. Lebanon is in the news right now. That's why I'm talking. People are very interested in Lebanon and Iran and Israel and Russia, Ukraine and China, Taiwan and other things, right? So that's why I'm mentioning about this. We have an Indian army contingent in Lebanon, which comprises of soldiers who are from the Maite community, who are from the Kuki tribe, and who are Nagas as well. They are working shoulder to shoulder to obtain world peace for humanity. So Manipur is such a great state. Where will you find floating islands like Loktak Lake? Lake Loktak has got floating islands. But what have we done? Such a beautiful state like Manipur, it pains me no end. Where brutality, inhumanity, what not we may call. And both these communities never had a history of fighting. They were very good friends. They've always learned to coexist together. In 93, there was in 93.
All right, Major Muhammad Ali Shah, in fact, that's how you have seen and witnessed the kind of history of Manipur and how it was never almost like in such a disturbing state. But let me also get back my guest, Dr. Nisha Khanna, on the broadcast as she was speaking about what kind of a background and what kind of a disorder does in fact instill such psyche which results into committing heinous crimes, and especially crimes of such degree which are very disturbing, which are in fact mind-boggling and also heart-wrenching when it comes to women, because the vulnerable in fact always is at the first level of an attack. And when such incidents happen, it also raises a lot of concerns about what are we doing in fact at this point of time to monitor the behavior of such sick-minded people, whether they are in any force or whether they are in fact the criminals. What are we doing as a society to monitor how they are in fact being taking on these people and trying to distort the lives, trying to take the lives in such a horrific manner? Ms. Nisha.
So the basic thing is, as I was talking about, executing functioning of the brain is mostly hampered or damaged. It may be due to the influence of drugs, alcohol, or substance abuse. All these things are majorly responsible for that. Another reason is also because of the negative thoughts. The eruption of negative emotions, when it is uncontrollable or the person is not able to control the emotions, then such sort of heinous crimes are very normal. Even we see the role of pornography also plays an important role, because when you are doing such sort of crimes where you are heinously raping the victim, along with that murdering the victim, And especially when we have seen about such sort of pattern, because men feel that they have a patriarchy system and they can control the woman. It's a power control, the sort of things that they want, that the person or the woman is sort of a property over which they have the right to smash them in any ways, however they can. And especially in the wars, it's most of the time, and from a long time, it's been used from the generations or the centuries, that they will try to harm the woman as seen as the what's the weaker aspects of the society, where men think that they can, through violence, through power, through control, through such sort of heinous crimes, they can actually make an influence. And somewhere, if suppose it is the part of the family member, and because such sort of people are having maybe not that sort of cordial family relationships, definitely they lack humanity, they lack empathy, such sort of values, because it is against any religion. Because when you do such crimes, no religion, it may be Christianity, it may be the Buddhism, it may be the Hinduism, it may be whatever the religion you belongs to. In each religion, they talk about somewhere the kindness, they talk about love. But when such people are there, they're born and brought up also plays an important role. They themselves are born and brought up in the families where maybe they have seen violence and they think this is the way how to control, or maybe how they can create the fear in the minds of the people. And as I said it, that because once you impact the weaker system of the community, where we find from numerous generations or the centuries that woman has been seen as a very weaker part of the society, where if you want to hurt them, definitely it will impact or leave an impression for others. And basically we always think about that when a murder or the rape happens, it impacts the whole family somewhere. Maybe the children also get impacted by that, the partner also get impacted by that. Howsoever they try to run away from the situation, if they try to even fight it out in that situation, maybe they would not be alive at that time moment right now. So I would say we have to actually identify that the people's emotional regulation is, or emotions are playing a very important role, where we are having suppressing anger. Maybe out of revenge, people want to show that this person or this community has hurt us. So we will hit that community on that particular aspect, which is the weaker or maybe close to the heart of the other community. As these two community has a fights in them, so they want to exert their control and power through showing this sort of heinous crime, so that people have fear in the depth of their heart, that what brutality they can show. And definitely you can't say that they have psychopathic tendencies, they have sociopathic tendencies, there is no doubt about that. But somewhere deep down, the thing is that they have revengeful part, which maybe the anger is there, sadness is there, where is a sort of vengeance psyche is
All
there.
right.
And they want somewhere how to get all the things in the society. They can create so much of fear that people, like, for example, it's not about that. When you put across or even giving the threat of someone to kill someone or to rape someone, the person, if not that much, maybe I would say that this maybe women try to fight with these people. So that's why they brutally murder the person. And whenever these such sort of heinous crimes happen, the victim actually tried their level best to fight with the basically the murderer, the person who is actually trying to dominate and trying to control the situation. And I think so, I will say she's a warrior who did her best to save herself, maybe till the last moment of her breath. She was trying to control the gain, maybe because the situation was like that.
All right, Dr.
And we
Nisha
lost her.
Khanna. In fact, that is how we are trying to analyze the kind of psychotic and abnormal behaviors in the criminals who, in fact, bring up these horrific incidents of crime against women, especially torture and rape. But when we talk about the larger picture, Manipur continues to be in a tensed state and on the boil. Viewers, that was all the news of the nation and the world. We'll continue to track all the developments very closely till then. Stay with us.